Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
Where do you oh. You're just gonna come. Okay, popcorn, check. Dramatic lighting, check. Friends who talk too much during films, also check.
But the real question is, are we ready to watch ourselves on the big screen?
I always am. But welcome to this special episode of The Scoop, where we're talking film.
That's right, the Blue Mountain Film and Media Festival returns this weekend, and it's bringing an incredible lineup of films, talks, and experiences right to our backyard.
From powerful international stories to Canadian talent and industry events, this year's fest promises something for every kind of movie lover.
Ooh. And to give us the inside scoop, we had the pleasure of chatting with someone who knows it better than anyone, Jason Gorber, Director of Film Programming.
Jason joined us remotely from the Cannes Film Festival in France, so we hopped online and made some cinematic magic of our own.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's roll.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule because we know you're at Cannes right now, and that is not an easy thing to squeeze us in. So thank you again. And we're here to talk about the Blue Mountain Film Festival. So can we just start with you? Just introduce yourself and just kind of tell us your story.
Sure. My name is Jason Gorber. I've been a film critic for about 30 years. I believe I was actually the first or one of the first online journalists ever credited at TIFF back in 1997. I go back a ways. And the whole reason that I started as a film critic, as somebody who sort of took this on as part of my profession, then eventually much more full-time, was a love of movies. And it was when I saw film and I thought, if I don't talk about this, who's going to talk about this? It's one of those. I mean, lots of people, it's very easy to be critical. It's very easy to champion or not something. But if I can find something that you don't know about and I can help you share my love in it, that is it's an intoxicating feeling, but it's such a warm and wonderful feeling. And so here we are decades later, and I have this incredible opportunity at the Blue Mountain Film and Media Festival to actually be part of a team that is putting the, films together, not only for those in the region, but also those who are coming in from out of town. And it's such an extraordinary experience. I get to see films from around the world, and I get to share them for this community of film lovers, and I am ecstatic to be able to do it. This is the fourth year of the festival. In the last 2 years, I've actually participated in the festival as a guest. I was actually hosting some of the Q&As as part of the media section. 2 years ago, I chatted with the guys behind BlackBerry. We had 4 of them on stage, and that was an engaged conversation. And part of our creative board, we have this extraordinary filmmaker named Daniel Beckerman, who's been integral to the success of the festival. I got a chance to chat with him last year, right after we were both in Cannes, and he had this little film called The Apprentice, and he had just been sued by the now, once former and now present President of the United States. And so we couldn't really get into all of that, but we still talked about this remarkable journey of bringing this film to life.
McDonough, you're brutal.
Guilty as charged.
How do you always win?
There's rules. The first rule is attack, attack, attack.
And we actually, this year, for the first time, there's this division. Let's sort of step back. There's the forum, the creative forum. And the creative forum is really for filmmakers, for production people, for financiers, for people interested in the sort of nuts and bolts of that stuff. And then there's the film section where you go and we sit in our at the Blue Mountain Village with world-class projection and sound. We have the head projections from TIFF. James shows up, incredible ops people, fantastic volunteers, all of that. So the film section and the media sort of industry creative forum section. And this year we actually have this one event where I'll be re-interviewing Daniel Beckerman a year later, but also speaking to another fabulous filmmaker, Matthew Rankin, the person who was Canada's Oscar pick this year for the incredible Universal Language, which we're also showing with the Q&A. But this will allow regular ticket buyers to actually engage in some of that industry stuff and hear some behind-the-scenes story. In other words, we're breaking down walls always about taste, about what people want to see, but also breaking down walls between the industry side and the sort of general audience side, and getting people a chance to actually engage with that on a sort of deeper level. And I'm so excited to actually see that integration.
I love that, because people are always so curious to meet the people behind the movies that they're watching, and there's very little opportunity to do that. So to have that sort of in everyone's backyard is very cool.
Yeah, and it'll just be a 45-minute conversation with each of them, and you know, it'll be a really fun and engaging conversation, both on the nerdy sense in terms of like what actually went down. But these are two individuals. So the Canadian Screen Awards, there's 5 films up for Best Picture. These are 2 of the filmmakers behind 2 of the 5 films. So that's who we have coming to the region, coming to celebrate at our festival, which is fantastic. We are bringing people from, as I said, Matthew's coming in from Montreal. Daniel's been coming in. He's been all over, shooting all over. These are absolutely world-class filmmakers. I mean, Apprentice was in competition at Cannes last year. We're talking the top of the top of the top. And these are individuals that are given their passion and given all they have in terms of what they do in terms of filmmakers, and bring it here to this community. And that's what really makes this event special. What we have done, me and my team, my associate programs, my fantastic associate programmers, Rachel West and Pat Mullen, we have assembled this list of 32 films, some classics. We're doing outdoor screenings. We're doing 2 amazing masterpieces. We're doing Best in Show, the incredible comedy about dogs, and we're showing Last Waltz, in part in commemoration of the passing of Garth Hudson, the last of the members of the band. We're showing a gala-style film as our Saturday party. The Friend, Naomi Watts adopts a dog that she inherits from Bill Murray. We are showing Goofy Things from Slamdance, an award-winning film from Slamdance, which is a sort of weird Sundance, a film called Race Walkers. They're gifting us with their Canadian premiere. There's a bunch of them coming. It'll be fantastic. That's the actual Thursday film.
That's my boy right there. Focus. Let's go, Trey! Son, pump those arms. Let's go. Hydrate, hydrate. Get your fluids. Okay.
Get Matt.
What are you doing? The camera's that way. That's the shot. The money shot.
We got it. Where's Matt? There's Matt. Get Matt. Close up on Matt. Keep shooting. Close up. We got it. Yes.
All of our stuff is, we have 2 venues. We have 2 theaters. And we have very consciously decided that this film is going to play for some audiences and this film is going to be others. And you can sort of navigate. You love documentaries. We have documentaries. If you're looking for LGBTQ stuff, we have that. If you're just looking for a movie, something on a Friday, we have that too. That's my favorite. That's why I go to festivals personally, is that I'm like, just show me a movie. I don't care what it is. And I promise you that we have done our absolute utmost to bring films that will engage you and actually move you. We are showing things like Little Jaff now, which played TIFF. We are showing films like Sad Jokes, which is actually a film that I have a really interesting history with. I was on the jury in Munich a year ago, gave that an award, it then played TIFF, and now I have an opportunity to showcase this. So it hasn't shown anywhere near in the region. It's this beautiful film, incredible filmmaker. And then I got to sit and have a conversation almost a year later with a filmmaker, and he is so excited. He gave us the film. Almost no festival in this area is getting the film, but he gave us the film because he saw my love of this movie. And he was so excited that if I had the opportunity to share it with people, that's what I was going to do. So that's the big difference. You are getting a little bit of what TIFF has with us, but what you're definitely getting is a lot more intimacy, in the sense that we're like a smaller collective in the best of sense, and a little bit more community, frankly. A little bit more sense of that we're all sharing this stuff together with only 2 screens playing back and forth. I think a lot of people will have a lot more conversations like, oh, did you see that the other day? I really love that one. And you're going to be able to navigate. Again, something that we see on Thursday, we're going to help you. Come to one of us if you wish and say, man, I really love this film. Do you have anything else sort of like this? We know. So that is what we want to do. We want you to feel that we are totally approachable, and we are doing this because we love movies, and we want you to share our passion for that. That's it. What makes it different between you watching something at home and watching with us? That sense of passion of doing this all together.
And the sense of community that you were talking about, honestly, that's the beauty of it. When you're exiting the film and you just turn to the other person next to you and you're like, what did you think? And you share that experience with somebody else that you've just had collectively, and then you engage others in that post-film breakdown and conversation and how it made you feel and what you went through, and then people share their stories and you don't even notice it, but you just kind of like wander off somewhere in the village and then like end up grabbing a coffee or a drink together, and then more people kind of pull up where you pull them into the conversation, and it's just this like beautiful organic sense of community and growth and sharing that you normally don't get to do when you're watching it by yourself. It's just you and your mind. Whether
it's gonna sound ridiculous. I can't believe I'm bringing this up, but I will anyway. My actual thesis, I have 2 philosophy degrees, but my philosophy degree ended up being weirdly on film criticism. And what it was about the conversation of cinema is literally what it was. That's what made me think of it as you talked about that. And really what it was against were people who want to shut things down, who want to stop. And so what is it? What am I against? I'm against those that want to close off discussion. So that's what I'm saying. If you don't love a film, I want to hear about it. If you love a film, I want to hear about it. I want to engage in this. I want to. It's not a sport. It is literally we are family of audience members, and sometimes you don't always agree, but we are all there because we have a shared passion. That's what it's about. And nothing makes me sadder than those that want to be closed off on things that, or to be fed things that they're already used to. And that's again, I strongly encourage people to try things at this festival. I have a film called EFIS. We have a film called EFIS, which is a baseball movie. I don't love baseball, but I love baseball. Baseball is ridiculous. It's slow and silly and beautiful. And this film is slow and silly and beautiful. It's literally about what it feels like to watch a baseball game. It is an extraordinary movie, but I have crime thrillers. We have this crazy film called Entis, which is told backwards, but it's about these elderly ladies that rob a bank. And then as the story unfolds backwards, you find it out, and it's all in the Irish language. So you have an Irish language elderly lady bank robbery movie that's sort of like Memento. Like, okay, like that's not something that I'm going to see while I'm watching, some reality TV show. We're going to do that. Incredible documentaries. This fantastic one called Middletown, which just premiered this year, which is about some people in their 50s reflecting back on their time in high school, where they did an electronic English course, which meant they became filmmakers. It's so easy. You guys pick up a camera. But when old people like me, it was a big deal to have access to a camera. So they did a news show as part of their high school, and they uncovered a conspiracy, a criminal conspiracy in their town. And you actually see it all play out. So it's a true crime thriller. It's a high school. It's like a John Hughes movie meets a true crime movie. It is fantastic. So all of these things all playing together. I just genuinely think that people are going to go and have a fantastic time. And even if you don't nobody's going to be seeing all the films that we have, but we are providing a playlist. This is our yearbook for this year. Blue Mountain is this like a small village. It has the intimacy. It has the warmth. It has the beauty of nature. It has all of those elements. I like to think of it that we have this incredibly beautiful natural environment, and I'm getting people to go inside and watch movies. But it totally makes sense because you can be rejuvenated in between films, and it just really gives us a sense of space and place, but also a distance from the sort of hustle and bustle from other environments. Some of the great festivals in the world, things like Telluride, Sundance, really start as these sort of, frankly, ski villages and have grown into these enormous things. We are not there yet, but we are definitely somewhere where you can see it's sort of outside the sort of center core of a big city, but still bringing in talent, but also allowing locals. This is incredibly important. Allowing people in the region to actually experience these films and these events and these talents in ways that otherwise never would have come to the area. And it's so, so exciting to be able to do it.
It's going to be so fun. I'm so excited. So the 3 of us are going, and we're really looking forward, along with Erin, our videographer. Yeah. And fun story, because we met at the Blue Mountain Film Festival a few years ago, which kind of sparked everything, and here we are. So
there are worse things about meeting on top of the mountain. And I will say this. I mean, I know it seems like a small thing, but this is very important. It has never been easier to see films. It's never been harder to see films together in some ways. And this is integral. People always ask me, why am I in France watching films that I could just see a few months later or whatever? Community. It's about community. And you guys were able at a film festival to have that human connection, shared interests, and shared all that stuff. There will be people in the audience. I know people who are married because they met in line of TIFF. I know so many friends, some of my closest and dearest friends I've met along this festival journey. Festivals are places of collective joy. I believe strongly that what a festival can do is to bring people together and to bring this sort of sense again of togetherness. And the fact that you guys started this whole project in part because of a meeting on top of the mountain, and you could feel the creativity and you could feel that sort of spirit of togetherness. It sounds very hippy dippy, but it is true that this is what you can't get on your couch when you're scrolling past algorithms. To be in a film with an audience is a different experience. It's a remarkable experience. It's sometimes an unforgettable experience. We are so used now to siloing, to blocking ourselves off from some ideas that aren't necessarily, slightly outside our comfort zone. Again, we're not doing anything crazy here, but we're doing stuff that I believe is going to make people feel. And if you really don't like it and you really like it, that's much better than being super bored by it. And that's what I'm really, really excited to actually showcase up here.
As a first timer, I am really looking forward to it because I love a good movie, and not just the regular stuff. Just give me foreign films, give me any type of movie that is not the norm or the regular. I'm all for that. I'm really excited about it.
There's this amazing film that we're showing called Suleiman's Story. It's specifically about the immigrant experience in Paris. Young adult from West Africa travels to Paris, gets caught in an exploitative situation where he becomes essentially the equivalent of an Uber Eats driver. And he's just trying to actually make himself sort of navigate that system. It's a beautiful, beautiful film that you'd think is just going to be super depressing. It is amazing. It's engaging. The performances are incredible. It's an award-winning performance at Cannes. And exactly as we talked about, the kind of film, yes, I played TIFF, but nobody paid attention. Now highlighted, we can do it. And as I mentioned before, this Little Jaffna, another film, another Cannes film about a member of the Tamil community in Paris. These films sort of talk to each other. I love when films do that. But it's a guy that becomes an undercover cop to actually sort of infiltrate members of his own community who are engaged in actually supporting some acts of terror back home in Sri Lanka. And so he's having to navigate his own community, but also him working as a representative of law enforcement. So those are like big, serious things. And then again, we got goofy films. We have documentaries that are so moving and so engaging, but we have documentaries. We have one about cheese, which is this fantastic movie about how as cheese ages, we age. And sometimes when cheese ages, it gets funky. And sometimes when we age, we get funky. It's very much, so this is beautiful, because what else would be existential and, again, very French, to do this stuff, but to use cheese as a metaphor for our own aging. We all get ripe. We all get a little oozy sometimes. It all works out. And then there's this other film, Holy Cow, which is this beautiful adolescent film about young love in France. Absolutely gorgeous, so stupendous. And of course, he becomes a cheesemaker. So we have two cheese films. We have horse movies. We have dog movies. We have cat movies. So we have all of these things that you can draw upon. But yeah, so since this is your first time, I really encourage you to, read the description, decide what you want to see. Just go to a movie. Just say, I'm just going to try this movie on this day. I'm just going to try it. Show me something. And I would love that. And I would love you to come to me afterwards and say, I don't know about this one, or, oh my God, I saw something I never would have seen if I would have read the description. That is my favorite. I don't read descriptions. I'm terrible. I'm at an international film festival and I try not to learn anything ahead of time. But I've seen some of the greatest films of my life when I saw them accidentally. That I had a film at 1, and I had a film at 7, and I went to a film at 4 o'clock. I don't care. Just show me a movie. And I saw things that blew my mind. So I encourage that sense of experimentation. What's the worst that can happen? I assume you guys have wasted an hour or something of your life at some point in time in your days. The least you're going to get something that you didn't know that you're going to see, and hopefully will feel something afterwards.
I think your passion and just everything that you know makes you just the perfect person for this job.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
You not only just have you seen a lot, but your energy for it is contagious. How do you pick what movies? Because there's so many. How do you pick which movies make it into your festival?
So a lot of people are asking me about that very question. People are like, oh, what's your theme? And I've been to festivals where it's a mountain, like we're Blue Mountain, sort of. It's a green escarpment, but we have, it's going to be mountains, it's going to be outdoor themed, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And my excuse, it sounds ridiculous, I'm going to pick good movies. I'm going to celebrate cinema. And I'm going to treat each film like an event, like a reason. I'm going to earn, hopefully, you getting off your couch and coming to the festival. That's what I'm looking to do. So we looked at over 200 films that we sort of narrowed down our short list before we got it down. So me and my team are looking all over the world for films within, let's say, the last 12 months, some just a couple months old, some that slipped through the cracks and actually didn't get a chance to actually play, all of them that have not had a chance to play in the region. And this is a big deal. Yes, some of them have maybe played in tiny venues somewhere in the big cities, but certainly in the region, you're giving an opportunity. And to see it on a screen with an audience, this is a unique experience that we're actually showcasing there, particularly with the talent that we're actually bringing. So what do I look for in a film? One that I love, but more importantly, not just that I love. There are films I love that I would never program. There are films that I program that aren't my top favorite because it's not about me. It is about the audience. It's about what's going to work. Now, this year, compared to previous years, I'm stretching things a little bit. I'm trying some things out, but I'm also some films are probably fit expectations and some things are a little bit outside of expectations. I think that's good. I think that's a great thing to try to do. But I'm certainly not going to do something that I'm going to bang you over the head and say, you didn't like this, you're wrong. I'm not going to say something like, oh, I can't believe you didn't get it, or some nonsense like that. I, as a film critic, that drives me crazy. It's not about that. It's about, I want at the very least that if you see a film that does not work for you, God forbid, I want you to have understood why I picked it. Even if it didn't work for you, you'd be like, you know what? This wasn't my favorite, but I totally see why it's here and why it worked out. That's what I look for is a film like that. But as I said, we're showing everything from big festival favorites to things that are being showcased that I think are unique and very special. We're not just doing a greatest hits of what other people have done. And I think if you look at our selection, I believe strongly, with all humility, that we have one of the most uniquely diverse, in the true sense of that word, selection. We have 32 films, and they're such a wide span between absolute art house festival fare, but that it's still a good and accessible and not entertaining, but engaging movie. Of course, entertaining, but you know what I mean? It can be depressing, but entertaining. Like not goofy. And then we have the goofy. Yeah, we absolutely have that. And all of these are all at play. So what films did I pick? Good ones. That's what I picked.
So obviously star power is something that a lot of people look at, like when they're looking at a program and they'll say, oh, that's Naomi Watts and you said Bill Murray. Like that's obviously going to be something that people gravitate to. But what Canadian films do we have to look forward to? How can we celebrate?
Got a gazillion. Yeah, we have a gazillion Canadian films. This time in particular, we're looking definitely to see what our Canadian industry is doing. So we have this very moving film called Home Free, where Avi Federgreen, the director, is coming up. We have a documentary called Ode to Humanity, which is actually our first film on the first day, which is a documentary. He started telling stories about Beethoven in and around Beethoven's Ninth, and like using Beethoven's Ninth as a way to tell 9 different stories. And then suddenly the filmmaker himself became part of the story because of a tragedy. And it totally shifted on that front. We have Bonjour Tristesse, another Canadian. We have a bunch. And if you go to our website, if you go to bluemtnfilmfest.ca, click on schedule, we have a maple leaf for those films that are actually there. But we also have a series of tags. The documentary is directed by women. All of those elements are actually there. And a lot of that, I've been thinking of it, to your point, like ski trails, that, you know, this is the sort of adventurous French one, or this is the documentary trail, like each one. And sometimes when you're on a ski trail, you can know that one ski trail is over here, but it connects with this one, and it connects with this one. We have a lot of things that interwove. But again, I've had a lot of fun of having different films have conversations with one another. We talked about the dog one before. Again, on opening day, we have the Cowboy and the Queen documentary, which is a documentary about a horse trainer who's changed the way entirely to train horses and became very close friends with Queen Elizabeth. who got him to train all of her horses. And then immediately after that is this exquisite film called Gaucho Gaucho, 5 years in the making, black and white, shot in the Argentine wilderness. And it looks like a film from the 1920s, but it's brand new. And it's these incredibly beautiful cinematic shots of these gaucho, these cowboy and cowgirls that live so intimately with their horses that they're almost like they're like centaurs. They're like one being. They're so intimately connected with that. So it's all of this sort of stuff all playing out. So is there a bunch of Canadian? Absolutely a bunch of Canadian, but we are not simply doing that. Could we be an all-Canadian festival? Of course we could. But I am interested in films from around the world, and I'm interested about how those Canadian films speak to similarly themed films around. I talked about Ode to Humanity, which is very musical and about complicated things. There's a documentary we're showing called Front Row, which is about a Ukrainian ballet troupe that is performing and the guilt that they're feeling that they're dancing instead of fighting back home, which is a very interesting and complicated thing about how as artists are we doing enough to just support the culture that's under attack. A gentleman who lost, a soldier who lost both his legs goes and introduces them. And then he decides he wants to become a dancer. And the principal male dancer says, I'm going to teach you. And the prima ballerina says, who the hell do you think you are? I've spent my whole life learning to dance, and you come in here just because you lost your legs, you're going to become a dancer and think you can upstage me? It's like Bring It On meets a true documentary meets a war movie. It's like, and you totally think that the prima ballerina is being a terrible person, but you totally understand about people who come in to an artist who's literally sweat, blood, and tears to do what they're doing, and they think as an amateur you can come along and do it the same way the soldier would be making fun of the person, etc. All of this dynamic. But you can see that we have these two films, one that is about a Ukrainian orchestra playing Beethoven, and one that's a Ukrainian ballet. One's a Canadian film, one is a European film, and the two of them manage to actually have a conversation across borders, across cultures, but doing so in very different ways. That's an exciting thing about a film festival.
So for people who kind of have like one toe in and they're not really ready to go inside the theater, you have lots of outdoor showings.
So we have two outdoor screens, one on Friday night, one's on Saturday. On the Friday night, we're showing on the screen with good sound. We are showing The Last Waltz, Martin Scorsese's incredible concert movie. If you've never seen it on a screen larger than a laptop, please give it a chance. There's actually, because of in the Village, right in that square, there will be musical performances and stuff like that ahead of time. So there actually is a band playing music by the band before we show a documentary about the band, starring the band. It all sort of comes together. So that's Friday night, sort of a music theme. And as I mentioned, on Saturday, we are doing this Best in Show screening. If you've never seen it, it's one of the great mockumentaries of all time. Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, God Loves a Terrier. And again, I'm a cat person. I hate dogs. I'm that person. And yet I have 3 dog movies. Black Dog, I love. The Friend is great. But Best in Show, just like EFIS in a funny way. I just realized this now. EFIS is a movie that loves baseball, but recognizes baseball is ridiculous. Like it loves it so much it knows what's ridiculous about it. Best in Show is a movie that totally loves dogs and loves dog show and loves dog people, but knows how insane it all is. And it has that. You can only make a movie like Best in Show if you truly are coming from a space of love in order to totally make fun of it. So they always call them mockumentary, which sounds a little dismissive. Really what they are true, they're fake documentaries that are more truthful than many actual documentaries. That's really what they are. The Spinal Taps, the Waiting for Guffmans, all of that stuff. So yeah, some fantastic outdoor stuff. Again, totally free. And we're also doing something, and tickets are just opening up. At the moment, if you're a pass holder, you can actually have access, but this will be open to the general community. We're doing something really interesting. Look, the film that got me is when I was 5 years old, I saw in theaters. The film that sort of shaped me, unsurprisingly, is Star Wars. I am helping run a film festival, and I get to show Star Wars. How fun is that? But I'm not just showing Star Wars. I'm having a very rare screening of Star Wars on the big screen. It almost never shows on the big screen, but it's the Ojibwe dub version. They actually did a version using members of the Ojibwe community. This is one of the few times ever it's being shown on a big screen. And it was Canadian members of the Canadian Indigenous community actually did a full dub, and we may be showing it without subtitles, meaning that because it's such a visually sumptuous film, even if you've never seen the film, you're still going to get what's going on, but you're going to have a chance to listen to the performance, listen to the musicality, the timbre, the tone of the people, and actually be engaged with that. Totally free screening on Sunday. I really encourage people to reach out to the festival, bluemtnfilmfest.ca, and see whether or not it is something. Bring your family, because this truly will be a remarkable experience to actually see this film, this incredible, one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time, one of the greatest films of all time on the big screen, but in this unique way that's celebrating these particular cultural achievements, but using something like pop culture as another mechanism for showing the vitality. This is not an archaic thing to be remembered like a museum piece. This is a living language. And the two of them coming together, I think, is something that is truly remarkable. So that's sort of our no cost involved screenings if you're actually in the village. And then, yes, so many things. Tickets are extremely reasonable. And we're a nonprofit organization, actually run this festival. Every ticket that you buy helps us bring these films to this community. I would love this to continue for years and years and years, but one thing that it requires is for people to actually help support it. So anything that you can do, go on social media, spread the word, let people know, look at our schedule, and look, reach out. I'm easy to find on social media. If you want to just look for Jason Gorber, I'm super easy. The joy of having a ridiculous last name, I'm super easy to Google. Reach out. You have any questions? Anybody in our audience that has any questions about what they want to do? I am an open book about any of this stuff, and I truly encourage you to tell your friends, but actually to come out and truly be part of this celebration, because that's what it is on a fundamental basis. Treat it like an experience, and I will reward you as best as I can with some of the great films from around the world.
Well, Jason, thank you so much. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know that you have a busy week, but thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic.
Bon festival.
Okay.
Have a great day.
All
Bye,
the best.
guys.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. And cut.